Hey y'all, let's go ahead and tackle this TSI test using this resource from Montgomery College. As you can see, they give you some math tools here on the next page. And we are just going to jump right in. Question number 1. It says a map shows 1 mile. Okay. Uh-oh. It shows that 1 mile represents 3 centimeters. How many, or is represented by 3 centimeters? How many centimeters would 8 miles be on the map? Okay, so they gave us a ratio. We're going to compare or a rate, and that's miles to centimeters. So 1 mile is 3 centimeters. They want us to determine if there were 8 miles that we needed to represent, how many centimeters would that be? Well, to solve this proportion, you are going to look in the proportion to see if there is a factor that you can recognize that was used to multiply to create this ratio over here. We're creating equivalent fractions. If you can, because it's either going to be multiplication or division, okay? So if you can recognize what did I multiply this fraction by or this ratio by to create this one. I see it's times 8. What I do to the top, I do to the bottom. 3 times 8 is 24. Bada bing, bada boom. There's another way that you can also solve this. Miles over centimeters, 1 mile, 3 centimeters, and I have 8 miles, and I'm trying to figure out how many centimeters. You can always cross multiply 24 and divide by the number you didn't multiply by. Since it's 1, it's super easy. We don't have to do much work. Next one. In a recent study, a ratio, ratio is comparing some things, dog to cat. So my ratio is dog to cat, which is 5 to 4. If there are a total, boom, boom, keyword, of 180 pet owners, how many own dogs? So this is a little different because they didn't say if it was this many dogs, how many cats would it be? They said if there was a total. Well, they didn't give us the total. So we're going to have to use what they gave us to create a total. How many total pets is there with the given ratio 5 to 4? Well, it would be 9. So my total pets is 9. They want to know how many own dogs. So my ratio now is going to be dogs to total. Okay, dogs to total. When there are 5 dogs, there's a total of 9 animals. They want us to determine the number of dogs with 180 animals. Here you can same thing. You can either cross multiply and divide, or if you can look down here and see what do I multiply 9 by to get 18. If you need to cover up the 0 and say, okay, what do I multiply 180. But what do I multiply 9 by to get 18 would be 2. Add the 0 back, that would be 20. Do the same thing to the top. 5 times 2 is 100. So let me show you what this would look like if we were to just do cross multiplication and division versus looking for that factor that we used to multiply by. So 5 times 180 would give me 900. You divide by whatever number you didn't multiply by, so then I have to divide by 9, and that would give me 100 again. All right, question number 3. Please drop your questions in the comments if you have any confusion or concerns. A rectangular photo has a width of 5 inches and a length of 7 inches. Gave me my ratio, 5 to 7, width to length. My bad. If the width has enlarged to 12 inches, how much is the length now? So if something changed, my width is being compared to my length. It was 5 to 7. Now my width has increased to 12 inches. Okay. And I need to figure out what my length is now. Here, I can't off top just say, okay, I multiply 5 by what to get 12. If it was 6, it would have been 2, but that's not what it is. So I'm going to go ahead and do my cross multiplication and division, okay? So 12 times 7 is 84. You divide by what you didn't multiply by, and that would be 5. Now, 84 divided by 5, but if we looked at the answer, we see we actually can stop right here. The first time I did this, I just did the whole problem. But they were nice, and they let us keep it as a fraction. So that would be your answer. Question number 4. A recipe requires 2 cups of flour for every 1/8 cup of sugar. I am comparing flour to sugar. And it says 2 cups for every 1/8 Okay, I messed up the first time I did this. Okay, I did 8. So please make sure you pay attention. And they got us because they use letters instead of numbers. Raggedy. I told you these people don't care about you. If you use 1 cup of sugar, how many cups of flour? So my sugar, I'm doing flour to sugar. 2 over 1/8, fraction within a fraction. 1 goes at the bottom, and I'm looking for flour. If you are just like, well, I have not a clue what to do, go ahead and cross multiply and divide. So you have 2 times 1, which is 2, and then f times 1/8, which is 1/8 f. Excuse me. And you would divide 2 by 1/8. Keep change flip. So 2 times 8 would be 16. But you have to know your fraction rules of division to do that. Let's say you don't. What's another way you could do it? I have 2 over 1/8. Well, what did I multiply 1/8 by to create a whole? Because that's 1, right? What would I have to multiply 1/8 by to get a whole? How many 1/8 would it take for me to get 1 whole cup, right? It would take 8. So this would be times 8 up here, and that would be 16. Okay, so we got to think about what fractions mean. Fractions is part over whole, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And I'm trying to determine how many eighths is it going to take me to make 1 whole cup. Well, I would have to do that literally 8 times. Okay. All right, question number 5. We're going to finish these 2 out and then we'll be done. If Mary runs a rate, gave us that rate again, of 4 miles per hour. They gave us the rate, miles per hour, 4 miles for every 1 hour. Okay, this is actually a unit rate to be specific. Okay, so we're doing miles over hours, 4 miles for 1 hour. How many minutes does it take her to run 12 miles? And they were even nice and gave the conversion of 1 hour to 60 minutes. So instead of us, okay, keeping this as a 1, we're going to put a 60 down here because we know that that represents minutes, okay? So 4 miles for 60 minutes. It then asks us how many minutes does it take her to run 12 miles? Well, 12 goes at the top. What did I do to the 4 to get to the 12? Times 3. So 60 times 3 would be 180. Hopefully you all got that. I'm going to run through it one more time. They gave us a unit conversion. We had miles per hour, but now they want miles per minute. Well, I know I need to convert to 60 minutes for 1 hour. So instead of me doing 4 miles for 1 hour, I'm going to do 4 miles for 60 minutes, okay? And if I run for 12 miles, how many minutes would that be? Well, I'm going to look at that factor, 4 times 3, 60 times 3, 180. Hopefully that made sense. Last one, these 2 triangles are similar. Find the value of h. So similar triangles have proportional sides. And that's just something you have to know. Similar triangles have proportional sides. So we're going to set up a proportion. And we are looking for the value of h. So let's put h over here. And now you have to determine the side that matches h. When you set up a proportion, it has to match. It has to be a true statement. H has to equal the same side that it's supposed to be. This is flipped. Okay, the angles are congruent in proportion, in similar figures. So this is flipped. You see that angle 25 is opposite of h. That means that this is going to be h for the other triangle. Therefore, we're going to put 12 down here. Okay. That lets us know that these have some type of relationship. Okay, h and 12 are related. That's why they can be in the same fraction. Now you just choose 2 other sides to use to compare. Okay, and they have to be true. We are going to use the side, let's use the one we did opposite of h. And now let's just do the one right beside it. So let's do 8. He's going to have to go down here because he is on the same triangle as 12. And then we will use 16 because that's the shorter side. 20 would be the longer side. If you wanted to use 20, then you would have to use 40. Okay. Go ahead and cross multiply and divide here because I don't have a multiplier between 12 or a factor that I can multiply 12 by to get 8 or divide 12 by to get 8. Now, I can look vertically, oh my goodness, and see that I did 8 times 2 to get 16. It don't matter what direction it's going as long as you can find the relationship. So I can do 12 times 2 and I can get 24. So if you can find the relationship vertically or horizontally, you just have to figure out what that factor is. Okay, what did I do to 16 to get to 8? I divided by 2. Or what did I do to 8 to get to 16? I'll multiply by 2. It just has to be true. If you're not sure, then go ahead and cross multiply and divide and do 12 times 16. And then you're going to divide that by 8 and get 24. Okay? All right, that pretty much sums it up. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments. Bye.